Michelle Barone.
And I'm Mark Malone.
And it's time to wake up with Rhinebeck Bank.
And this morning we have a very special guest with us. And one of the things that he's going to talk to us about is an unfortunate reality of the world that we live in right now. And it's what to do in a situation where there's an active shooter.
Absolutely. Anthony Abbott is here with us, and I'd love to welcome him out to discuss topics like these.
Come on over, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you for
Thanks for joining us. Have a seat.
Okay.
Join us.
So before we get started today, one of the things that I wanted just to acknowledge here is when Anthony came this morning, he brought me peanut butter M&Ms. So Anthony's wife actually works with us at Rhinebeck Bank. She's our BSA and security officer, and I have to say that she has kept me full with M&Ms for probably the last 3 years.
You better share those, Mark. Come on.
When you look at your monthly expenses, that's me. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's why my food bill is up.
Yeah, that's why it's high. He likes chocolate.
So Anthony, you're a security director at a local organization here, and I know that you have a background that includes military experience.
Right.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your background?
Well, I retired after 21 years in the Marine Corps, serving pretty much all over the world.
Wow.
Starting out in infantry, got in aviation, and then I got into, I was a Gulf War vet, and then my last 3.5 years I was on embassy duty, so I was in charge of security for American embassies, one in Tokyo and one in Damascus, Syria. So I've been, security pretty much has been my whole life, from the military out here into the civilian world.
So coming back into the civilian world now, and with the unfortunate incidents of terrorism that are happening here in the United States now. I mean, it's certainly something that people think about, and it could be a reality in their life at some point. So what is an active shooter, and how do you define a situation like that?
Okay. Well, just to give you a little bit about my background in teaching active shooter situations, I started really getting into it in 2009. Actually, myself taking classes to improve my knowledge, and I started teaching this around 2010. What an active shooter is a person that's actively killing or attempting to kill a person people in a confined space. And it's become more and more prevalent nowadays. Not, you talk about terrorist activities, but a lot of times it's just a normal person that's upset, and then they decide that this is a way to fix their problem. It's by coming in and start shooting people.
So, I'm in a situation like this. I mean, your mind must be going a million different places. How do you react when you're in a situation like this, or how are we supposed to react when we're in a situation like this? Well,
one of the first things that happen when somebody finds themselves in this type of situation is that fear is going to kick in right off the bat.
I know I would be scared.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And I try to tell people, it's the first few seconds, it's disbelief, denial, this can't be happening. But you have to overcome that and act appropriately to increase your chances of survival. I talk about the 3 basic responses. They sound simple, but it's more to it. But it's run, hide, and fight. And those are the 3 basic responses that you have. It's in more detail how I teach what you do in each one of those sessions.
Would you do that in order? Run, hide, and fight?
No, it's based on the situation, because obviously if you get somebody started shooting, you hear the gunshots go off, and somebody yells active shooter or something like that, you take off running, you may run right into that person. Sometimes it may be more better for you to hide and barricade, and when I say hide, but not only barricade yourself in your office or a location where you can be safe, and then prepare to fight if you have to, if this person gets in. If you can't get out of where you at safely, then you may have to fight, and then you have to fight with a cause.
And do you fight with alone, or how would you go about fighting?
Well, hopefully you can get everybody. In most cases, when I teach it is to groups, and they usually have office and other employees within their confines, that you fight as a team. Yes, you can do it alone, but your chances do increase if you do have a number of other people in there with you, that you can take this person down.
This must involve somebody taking a leadership role in a situation like that, I can imagine, and really guiding the rest of the people that might be in that group that's with you.
Yes. Well, take a look at 9/11. And a lot of people, I bring that up in my training. A lot of people think of 9/11. How can that be in the same situation? Well, we know that the first 3 airplanes hit their targets, World Trade Centers and the Pentagon. But the 4th one went into the ground. And they decided when they found out what the airplanes were doing that they was going to fight. And it was a person that said, okay, we got to try to take this. They had a slim chance, but we got to try to take this airplane. They may not have survived the crash, but they saved other people. And a lot of times that's what happens is that your actions may save other lives. Another prime example that could have been better, Orlando. The attack there, 300 people in there, and nobody attacked the shooter. If somebody had maybe been through this training and said, okay, we got to do something, it would have minimized the number of people that became casualties.
So you may actually expose or lose your life, or maybe not if you fight, depends on the situation, but you're going to save others' lives.
Yes, well, it's been proven that taking action does decrease the number of victims. So if you don't do anything, then you're going to have more people or all people that's in that zone, that killing zone, getting injured or getting killed.
So there might not be many things you can do in this situation, but what can be done to prevent an active shooter situation?
Well, and a lot of situations, especially what I deal with, we talk about workplace violence, and it's recognizing people that may have an issue, and sometimes we as employees or fellow employees or employers overlook those issues.
Sweep them under the rug.
Right, and if somebody come in that's acting out of sort, maybe every day you dealt with this person, they've done their work, they've been very cheerful, and they've done it without problem, but then one day they explode because they may have some problems at home that they need to deal with or they can't deal with, and instead of saying, hey, is everything okay, anything I can help you with, send them somebody that can talk to them or listen to their problems, and then they feel that that's the only thing that they can do to get attention in some cases.
Interesting. What's law enforcement's role in something like this? In a situation like Orlando, let's say.
Well, basically, what Orlando became a hostage situation because a lot of people ran into the bathroom. Yeah. But mainly, law enforcement role has changed. Their primary role is to enter and stop the shooter. Okay, they want to get in there and get to where the shots are being last fired. They want to get there and secure the area, stop the shooter before anything else can happen. So they're putting their life on the line to go and stop that shooter right off the bat.
And that may mean that they're not so pleasant to people who aren't victims, right?
That's true.
And I think victims have problems with that. I mean, if you're in a situation like that and you see a police officer, you're like, oh my gosh, it's my saving grace. But on the other hand, they're going to push you out of the way to get to where they need to go.
Yes.
So knowing that is important.
Yes. In the past, I mean, a lot of these situations would have been hostage situations. And so it almost seems like that is changing in a lot of cases.
Well, it could be because people are acting more to those type of situations or intervening. But you got to understand, when the police go in there, they don't know who the shooter is. They're under the assumption maybe more than one shooter. And so they're just as afraid for their lives, but they're still there to protect the population. And if they tell you to do something, do what they tell you to do, whether it's to evacuate, get down on the ground, drop what you got in your hands, or what their direction is.
So listen to them.
Yes, definitely listen to them.
Now, can people get trained by you individually, or do you usually do it in a corporate setting? How does that work?
Usually I do it in a group setting. Okay. I've done healthcare, I've done corporate, I've done churches. So I've done a number of different places where these things can happen. And like I said, churches, nobody ever thought of a church having an active shooting until a couple years ago in South Carolina when that happened. So I try to do as many people as possible together, because you talk about teamwork to take this person down. There's not always somebody that has a gun on them. Sometimes it's just a person that has to use whatever they have available as a weapon.
And the odds are still against something like this happening, but it's becoming more prevalent, certainly in this country.
Absolutely.
Well, one of my saying is that, hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst.
That's a great tip.
Absolutely. So you're going to demonstrate what we should do when fighting an active shooter?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Okay, let's do it.
Well, I need some.
I could use some help.
Me too.
Okay, well, I need some volunteers.
Absolutely.
So
we're happy to volunteer. Let's get that set up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. A couple of things I want to bring up when it comes to active shooter situation. Again, the fight part is as a last resort. You had no other choice. You've done everything to get away from it, evacuate, run. You try to hide, barricade yourself. He done cornered you, and he's going to kill you. So it's a teamwork effort. What we're going to do, we're going to do a technique called a swarming technique. Secret Service developed this to protect presidents. The last time, the most well-known one was President Reagan attempt on his life. Secret Service was able to get the shooter without firing off a shot. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go through technique, okay? And it's not going to be as fast or as uncontrolled as actual swarming, but the key to it is to control the limbs. Okay, so Mark here is going to be our
active shooter.
Okay, now, like I said, when he comes in, you want to start throwing staplers, 2-hole punches, 3-hole punches, laptops, whatever you got. Hit him with, with a fire extinguisher, spray him in the face, whatever you got to distract him, because when he comes in, he's coming in to shoot somebody. You want to disrupt that concentration. Key is to get in on the arms. Whoever got control of the handgun, if you get, depending on what type he has, and whether it's a semi-automatic like a 9mm, you want to get on top of it to keep that slide from going back after he shoot off. If you can't get the whole hand on there, at least get part of the thumb like this on top to hold it. And what you're going to do, you're going to turn it in towards him. But when you do it, you're going to jerk it in towards him. Okay, that puts more pressure on the wrist. Not pull it out here where you can shoot somebody else, but jerk it in towards him. You got a good grip. Other person's going to get on the other arm and grip, get in tight and grip that arm. Okay, control that arm. And then you have other people that's hopefully available to get on his legs. Get on his legs. Okay? Now, this is the time you can either take him down on the ground on his back, depending on where they are, or take him down on the front. And it depends on how he's fighting. Do whatever it takes to control this man, make him understand. Hit him, kick him, bite him, hit him in his areas that usually don't hit somebody. But make sure that he understands you're in for a fight. You're not going to take anybody's lives. The person that gets control of the gun, you want to get it out of his hand. Whatever it takes to do that. If you can do that, put pressure on it, bite him on the arm, knee him, get his control, get his attention taken. While he's on the ground, you go bring him down on the ground. Can we take you on the ground?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so you go down on the ground. Be careful. I'm going to go control this. Go ahead down on your front. You went on the front. Okay. Now, this is it's not going to be like letting him down. You threw him down. You still got control. This person's going to be on his arms. Other people sitting on his leg. No, keep your arms out like that. Sit on his leg, sit on his back. Usually have a fifth person.
I'm not going down this easy, typically.
Yeah, but we also doing this. We're doing we hitting you, whatever it take, dropping a knee on your arm, and then if you can get that gun away, slide it over to the side. And maintain control. If you sit on him, lay on him, but throw some punches in there, knees in there, whatever it takes to hold this person down until the police can come in and take him into custody. But he does not, whether he begs or whatever, let him beg. Okay?
Wait for law enforcement.
Wait for law enforcement to take him.
All right. Thank you so much, Anthony. That was fantastic.
Good job.
Thank you. Mark, are you all right?
I feel good. I think it's important to know, and I'm going to use Michelle's microphone here, but I think it's important to know that this was a demonstration, which makes me happy because I was not getting anything thrown at me. They were not kicking me in any areas that they shouldn't.
Yes. Thank you so much,
No
Anthony.
problem.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You. Good job, girls. Or ladies. Sorry about that.
Michelle and I want to thank Anthony for joining us today. Very informative interview.
Absolutely. Learned a lot, and I hope you did too. And if you're looking to learn more, you can check us out next Monday at 8 a.m. on wakeuprhinebeck.com.
See you then.
Bye.